Okay, so it's been a while. I just got home from my usual Sunday date with myself, and let's just say some interesting things happened today. And I was there in the park, like usual, watching philosophy videos, and two strangers approached me, and they said they were interviewing random strangers as part of this social media group. They asked me a few questions, and they had a mic, and there was a camera, and it was pretty intimidating, but I'm not quite new to that, as you can see. And they asked me two questions. The first one being, what's something that you felt before that you miss feeling now? I came up with the answer that I really miss the feeling of having a sense of direction. I'm a first-year computer science student living alone away from his parents for the first time. I don't think I need to elaborate further as to why I miss feeling that way. And the second question being, if you had an advice, a general advice towards those around your age, what would it be? And it took me around 5 seconds. I gave it a good think, and as I was replaying my past year and trying to recall all the lessons I've made so far, the video lessons about last year, which is long overdue, I'm gonna work on that. And then the what ifs goes both ways video just immediately went into my mind, and I went with that, and I simply said, what ifs goes both ways. Life is unpredictable, so you just have to keep moving forward. I'm just paraphrasing myself there, but more or less that's the message I was going for. No matter how hard you try to outsmart life or try to predict what happens next, you don't know. And if you claim you have it all figured out, you don't. And life, through its creative ways, will try to prove that. And I ended it with this quote of mine. I'm not quite sure if it's original. I think it is. Blessing, just like tragedy, often comes to those who least expect to be at the receiving end of it. It just, again, refers to how we don't really know what's going to take place in our lives. Tomorrow can be different. The next day can be different. Yesterday was different. Today is its own thing. And so, again, what ifs goes both ways. There's really no point in trying to ruminate or trying to predict rather what could happen next or what should have happened, because what ifs goes both ways. There's no point. It's all risky. You just have to keep moving forward and try to take it all in one day at a time, one situation at a time, one problem at a time. And okay, interview done. But it doesn't end there. I remembered I bought a small pocket journal, and it happened to be laying at the bottom of my handbag, if that's the right word to call it. And so I decided to stay a few minutes longer and decided to write my first journal entry because I've been procrastinating on it for quite a long time. And I saw this bunch of guys in a circle singing worship songs. They had a guitar and they seemed pretty chill. So I decided to sit a few meters away from them and, get in the mood, since I am trying to write my first journal entry. So I thought the worship music and them with their majestic voices would prime me in the right frame of mind to write something poetic. It took me about 10 to 15 minutes to write the first entry, and then okay, my legs started to numb, and I decided to finally, okay, let's call it a day, let's go home, it's getting late. And I stood up, and then I can't I tried to walk, but I can't feel my legs, so I tried shaking it off, and these guys, they noticed me, and they've been glancing at me for quite a while. And this one guy asked me if I wanted to join them in their little fellowship circle. Basically, they were sharing their problems of the week or the greatest challenges they faced in the recent months or so. And, they share their own stories. And I thought, okay, maybe I could chill for a while here and hang out and see what this whole fellowship thing is all about. And that went for a while, and then they asked me a few questions, and I did my own fair share of sharing. Time flew by pretty quickly. It's Before I knew it, an hour has already passed, and I was dozing off a little bit. I was still paying attention, but something, let's just say something, or certain people woke me up. Well, not literally, but metaphorically. So this couple sat down a few meters away from our circle of newly made friends of mine, and I can't help but notice, but the girl, she looked like my ex, like uncannily. And of course, I tried to calm myself down because this is a situation that I knew would happen eventually. I've been actually mentally priming myself for this in case something like this happens. And again, I'm not quite sure because it was getting late and it was getting a little dark. It was pretty dark already, so I'm not really 100% certain that this was my ex. And the guys and a few girls actually came around eventually, and they were still going on. They were still reading verses. I was actually having fun, and I'm trying my best to bring my attention towards what's going on in our little fellowship circle because that's what I went there for. But you can't really help but be distracted, for a lack of a better term, by what could be your ex flirting or spending lovey-dovey time with somebody new. Of course, it will get to you. I think it's pretty understandable. And in that moment, again, I already had a system for this, or a set of steps that I've laid out for myself in case something like this happens. And one of those steps involved me trying to formulate counter evidence how this could be not her. To which kind of failed because the evidence that this could be her outnumbers or outweighs my counter evidence, or at least it's just the mental priming of the brain. It's when if I'm convinced that it's her, then there will be more tells that it is her. It's just a whole psychological thing that I'm not won't really go into. It's just like the way she smiles. Oh, she has an iPhone. My ex had an iPhone. The girl had a black bag. My ex had a black bag. But then again, this could have been anybody. But my brain, out of fear, because I've been daydreaming or ruminating about this very situation for the past few weeks. Because of course, it's Valentine's. And second, in a week or so, it's going to be what could be or what could have been our first year anniversary. Yes, I'm still counting. So I, to some extent, feared this moment where, oh, what if one day while I'm going on my usual Sunday date, I see my ex holding hands with another guy and flirting right in front of me, and this was it. Or rather, this could be it. But it's not in the manner in which I thought it would go. Yes, this could be it, but there's this whole other situation going on the side. And so I went for the next step in this whole try not to explode system I set for myself. I tried to detach. I tried to look at it from a third person perspective. Okay, so I tried to, let's go to third person perspective per se. And I asked myself, okay, what do we see here? What do we have here? What is the situation? We have a guy who's conflicted between paying attention to the word of the Lord and trying to answer a question that he full well knows could destroy him or break him. Because if you think about it, not knowing or knowing would both keep me up at night. The only difference is the first one is that I chose to not know, and the second one, I suffer because I chose to answer the question in which I know would kind of kill me in the inside. I have no other way to put this in a better way, but this has happened a few hours ago, so I'm still trying to untangle what actually happened. And of course, I tried to recalibrate myself. I'm listening to their sharing, they're singing songs, worship songs. They were playing guitar. It was going well, but the couple is there and the girl looked like my ex. What else can I do? I tried facing away, but just the mere thought that this could be it. Like, this is the moment you've been fearing the past few weeks. And yet, it's quite different from what you would expect. And again, as I detach from the situation, I've come to realize that the couple in front of me symbolizes uncertainty. Because I'm not sure. And I actually eventually wasn't able to hold it, which in some sense is like, I know this is quite a stretch, but I saw it in a way wherein I chose the temptations of knowledge over faith towards God. If you think about it, in a sense, that would be the case because, okay, I excused myself. I said I was going to the bathroom and I just had to take a look. I had to take a closer look if this really was her because I just can't take it because I kept telling myself in my head that I won't be able to sleep in the next few days if I don't know for certain if this is really her. So I tried to take a look and I was literally, I was close. But I still couldn't make her face out. She was facing down, but this could be her, this could be not her. I'm not sure. This isn't the way I remembered her, but she could have changed. All these thoughts were going on in my head, and the counter evidences were trying to fight against the evidence that this could be her. And I just gave in to, like, just tried to calm myself down, went for box breathing, and tried to involve myself in the group, answered the guys' questions because everybody else was asking each other questions about the interpretation of certain things in the Bible, per se. And then it started to drizzle a little bit, and we had to relocate somewhere else. And the couple, I saw them stand up, and then they went ahead. But again, my attention and focus was once again shifted towards the couple. And we also decided to stand up and move somewhere else, but it's there. It was itching. There was this voice within me, this urge to follow the couple and still try to answer my question. Is this really my ex? Has she really found somebody else new? I just want to know the answer. I wanted to be certain. And then in that moment, I had like some sort of Bible disciple moment or whatever you call it, where they invited me to go to McDonald's and then continue the talk there. But I also had this itch within me to excuse myself and come up with an excuse to go ahead. But deep within me, I know that I will try to follow the couple. And then in that moment, in that very moment, like that split second of trying to decide between, yes, I can go with you guys, I still have time, and saying no, it's getting late, I need to go home. And I couldn't believe it. I said, I had to go home. I still had to walk home, even though I had plenty of time. And so I thanked them, of course. I said I was grateful for the opportunity and that me meeting them in that time was definitely God's will, because those set of events were something I did not expect, which actually connects with the whole interview in the first part of the story. And so they went ahead, but me, I did not go home, of course. I tried to follow the couple, but I lost track of them, and then I spent the next 20 to 30 minutes trying to scout the entire park and mall, the mall that's near the park, to search for them and try to again answer my question and find some clarity in ambiguity. And when I was looking around in the mall trying to break my heart intentionally, that's when it hit me. Why am I trying to bring myself suffering? Like, what good does it do if I do find the answer? Either way, I don't think I'll find peace. Okay, let's say I do find them, because I went around the mall like 3, 4 times in different floors and different levels. I wasn't able to find them. But let's say I did. Of course I would get my answer, and let's say yes, it was her, then it's over. I guess my heart isn't broken. I wouldn't necessarily say that my heart gets broken again, but it's going to sting, definitely, and I wouldn't be able to function as well as I would like in the next few days. And let's say I do find them and it wasn't her the entire time, then I just wasted my time. I've been stalking and been looking around for a random couple minding their own day. And surely, if they are a random couple, then they surely would have taken notice that I've been staring in their general direction in the past 10-20 minutes back there in the park. And yeah. So what is the lesson here? I think God was trying to show me why I've been suffering and why I've been going on this loop of self-hatred, or whatever you may want to call it. He has laid out in front of me one of my grandest flaws. I call it grand because to some extent it is still a strength. My desire for clarity, my need for answers, it will be my downfall. Because I wanted to see clearly. I wanted to know for sure, to know for certain that this girl is or is not my ex. But in the pursuit of that, looking for an answer, I've neglected something else, something that could be far more important. That being my newly made friends, the worship guys. They're pretty chill. And I passed up on that opportunity for this senseless goose chase per se, for something that could cause me suffering. And regardless of which answer I get, it still wouldn't have been enough to satisfy all the different questions that's going on my mind. And I don't know, I just can't help. I just had to share it because I know that this will be replaying in my head for the next few days, if not weeks. Yesterday morning, I woke up with tears in my eyes and I was uttering the words, "Lord, I am afraid." I don't know. Yesterday, I just decided to wake up and have a mental breakdown first thing in the morning. And after that, I just went along my day as if nothing happened. And yeah, I asked the Lord, why? Why am I crying? Why am I still feeling lost? And lost. Lost and lost. And I think He laid that out pretty clearly. He answered that question of mine pretty creatively, because what He did a while ago, whatever is up there, regardless of which name he goes by, he, she, it doesn't matter. What took place a while ago was art. Those string of events, it's a masterpiece. Whatever's governing all this, whoever is calling the shots of where we will be for the day, who we will meet for the day, what we will be doing for the day, unpredictably or predictably, has to be an artist. This is beautiful, even though to some extent it is quite frustrating, but it is beautiful. And in that moment a while ago, and in that moment where I had to choose between, again, symbolically between choosing God and leaving it up to ambiguity, or trying to desperately seek the answer for myself. And my mistake there, I believe, could be summed up into this one phrase that I just came up literally just right now. In my pursuit of clarity, in my pursuit of trying to see clearly, I've blinded myself to what's important. Sometimes really just have to leave it up to fate. Because that was my advice. That was my answer to the interview. We don't know what happens. What ifs goes both ways? What if it's her? What if it wasn't her? And we already answered that a while ago. I'm just going to leave it up to the Lord, to fate, to whatever's out there. I'm just gonna leave it to them, or it, or him or her. It doesn't matter. That's what faith is. And yeah. And I told the Lord yesterday that yes, I was afraid, and it just happens to be that the gospel for today, which was the calling of Peter, which, and the priest's sermon went along the lines of fear and faith, and he described that fear is false evidence appearing real, which is so fitting to what happened a while ago. And faith is feeling and inciting towards heaven. And I was in the fine line between both of those words. In that moment, I found myself having to choose between following the couple or going along with the worship people. And the next week would have been the first year anniversary of me and my ex. And whatever that was, whatever that couple was supposed to symbolize, I'm not gonna put much thought in it. Maybe it hasn't fully sunk in. Maybe in the next few hours or so after I close this video and upload it on YouTube, I'm going to be sobbing my eyes out here before I sleep. Maybe not. But one thing's for certain. Everything is uncertain. The only certain thing in this world is uncertainty, and change, and time, and death. Okay, a lot of things are certain, but the point is, sometimes you just have to leave it up to faith, to fate, to chance, to luck. Not even luck, but then on a more Christian note, because it's Sunday and I just had this whole, I don't even know what to call it, calling thing to God. No, just leave it up to Him. I'm going to trust Him on this one. I mean, I had my, at least, I asked something yesterday. I'm afraid, I don't know why, and He answered that question pretty clearly and creatively. And maybe there are just some answers in reality or in this world or in our lives we aren't supposed to answer because it's the wrong question to ask. Sometimes you just have to trust in the Lord. And I've been telling myself that on the way home. I walked back home because I just had to. Just have faith. This is all happening for a reason. You don't have your answers for a reason. I didn't find that couple again for a reason. And I'm just going to have to trust God on this. Yeah.